Well, first of all, I'm a sculptor and that's what I do. And I like doing animals and I love doing human figures. And this is a combination of both. At first, I couldn't visualize what it would look like. But then you mentioned that it's going to hang and it's going to turn. And then I started to like the idea. And that's why we decided, the color and to make it matte white so that the lights can absorb, the color can absorb the color and so on. And I quite liked the idea. It was quite fun.
Can you explain with few words like what are different stages from the beginning to the end?
The first stage is obviously sculpting it. I was even considering, doing it a digital monkey, but I personally don't have that kind of experience and I will have to get somebody else to do that. That would have taken time. Then you have to 3D print it. So I immediately jumped in and I sculpted it from ordinary wet clay. And the process are sculpting it from wet clay, then to make a gips mold, and then to cast one fiberglass monkey. But now you have one, so you need two more. And the only way to do that was the quickest is to do a rubber mold. So we made a rubber mold, and from that rubber mold we've casted two more. The biggest process problem we had was the gips mold, because to cast fiberglass into a gips mold, the gips must be completely dry. At the time that we did it, it was very humid. So we couldn't, just make a mold and think that it's going to be dry the next day. It never happens that way. So we had to bake the mold. I brought an oven from South Africa. It's actually a pottery kiln, but I've never started it, so I had no idea if it's actually working because it went through a rough time for the last 2 years and transporting it here. So we started it and it only went up to 60 degrees and I had to get it up to at least 80, 90 degrees. So I had to buy a little diesel and I put that, into the oven with a pipe, and we eventually got up to 90 degrees and it took a day for the mold to dry, and then we were fine. The casting out of the gips mold came out perfect. That was the most nerve-wracking process, because if that went wrong, then we would have been buggered. it would have been a disaster. I don't even want to think about it.
You're coming from South Africa. Where is Bulgaria?
I arrived the first time in Bulgaria in 1999. I was in the film industry in South Africa, and the producer there, David Varot, he invited me to come to Bulgaria. At first, I never even knew the name Bulgaria, and because of the film industry, I got to know Bulgaria and I got to know the people, and realizing that the people are very much like South Africans. Now, Bulgaria is like home.
What is specific for your art?
Well, I mostly do figurative bronze sculptures. In the past, I've done quite a bit of wildlife, and whenever I get a commission for wildlife, I'm willing to do it. I had an exhibition in the beginning of last year, here in Sofia. Yes, that's what I do. Bronze sculptures, any size, life size. Most of my work goes abroad. I do art not only for myself. I enjoy doing it, but I don't like making a sculpture and nobody enjoys it. To me, your work must give pleasure to other people, and they must read their story from whatever you make. I don't tell people what it's about. And the monkeys, after 1 or 2 weeks already, it made a lot of story headlines. And I'm sure a lot of people talk about them, and that gives me pleasure.